Mm. Oh, let's see. Greetings to anybody. Not sure how long we'll be here. Not sure how long I'll roll with this. Typically, at least up to an hour, but just depending on how I feel. I don't really plan on being on here too long. Of course, I'm talking to the camera right now. Nobody's watching. So I'm going to flip this around, and y'all can look big real quick. And I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, that fan is dirty. I need to clean that fan off. Oh. Let's see if anybody. Okay, nobody's tuned in. I don't see anybody. Okay. Oh. Burning the sage. You probably see Biddy right there. There's old, my dog go Biddy. Biddy Biddy. Hey there, northern woman. Hello. Give me that. I'm just kind of chilling for a second. I'm burning a little sage, and I made it to church. I don't know if you saw my comment, but I did make it to church. Hold on, I gotta get my glasses. Let's see here. Yeah, they're little bitty. Oh, she ain't so little, but when she was little, it seemed like her head was too tiny for her body. Her body got big before her head was right. So I would call her bitty because I thought she had a little bitty head. And she's pretty good. Sometimes the only thing that she's kind of bad about is, but I think that's just stubbornness. Sometimes she don't want to come to you. Like, if she's not ready to come in, she'll just look at you like funny. Like, sometimes I'll be trying to get her to come in because I don't want to have to get back up and check on her and see if she wants in or not. Oh. Yeah, that's the primary thing. I'm burning sage basically just kind of as a overall good notion, yeah. Cleansing, that is what I use it for in this, but it's kind of you just not only in the spiritual cleansing sense, it also has, I've learned recently, and I've known sage for a long time, used it for a long time, but I've recently learned that it actually has a lot of antibacterial type properties and stuff so that's kind of interesting too. Like, I was seeing something a few months back I watched, and it was a Native American talking about when he grew up and the use of sage, that it wasn't just used in their rituals, that they used it in their cleaning water, like in their, they keep sage in their water, and it helped, that's what they wash their hands off and stuff with, and they'd use it on their bodies too, clean, like sage water or something. And they also, he said they would make sage tea a lot and drink it. It was a common, and of course during ceremonies and when they're doing sweat lodges, he said then they'd even do more. It'd be even more consuming the tea. But I've never really made any tea out of it or anything. But because I saw that recently and learned some newer things that I didn't know, like all I really knew was that it was used in spiritual practices to help cleanse the area of negative energies and stuff. And some people would say, some people might call you cuckoo if you start talking that way, but it is what it is. Like I probably wouldn't go up, even though everybody at church is cool and everything. There's some things that I wouldn't go. Like, I don't go to church all the time, but when I go to a church, sometimes I have to gauge. Like, I probably wouldn't bring up burning sage because I'm liable to have somebody tell me that that's not a good thing or something. I've seen videos pop up like that of people trying to say if you're into crystals or stones that's bad, hoodoo, new age, whatever. If you're into burning sage, that could be a bad thing, some people want to say, and everything. I think it just boils down to, like, if you're open enough to understand things and learn it, you try it out for yourself. You see is there anything to it? Is there not? Is it, yeah, so thanks for being here for a minute. I didn't know how long I'd go on here. Here lately, I've been real inconsistent. I was doing lives like almost every day there for a while, like sometime during the day. Not every day, but like during the week, I would at least be streaming at least once during the day within a 5 day period. There might have been 2 days, but I was doing it consistently and sometimes a couple of times a day. And it's kind of like when you get out of when you stop doing something, it's been harder for me to get back in there. Okay, you have a good day too, Northern Woman. I like your videos. You know, when I catch them, I try to hit like, and sometimes I say something, but don't think I ain't watching. You know, like we all have to keep up with our own things going. Oh yeah, you have crystals too. Yeah, I don't worship crystals, but I do understand that stones and things can have certain properties to them to help us. You know, so then you do know where I'm coming from in a way. People sometimes they're scared of what they don't know, and sometimes they only know what they were taught. And if they were taught that's of the devil or this is not good or whatever, until I have taken on myself to at least try to understand something or learn it and see what it's about, then I don't make too many judgments on some things. And I've picked up different things over the years that work for me in a spiritual way, you know. Well, yeah, happy Father's Day. I'm not a father though, so, but happy Father's Day to the main father, you know, the big kahuna. It's kind of humid here. I know you said you got to go, but I appreciate you being by here and stopping by and stopping in. What I was just saying was I'm going to be trying to, oh, you're in Indiana? I'm in Alabama. I'm in Alabama. I've mainly always lived in the South. I mean, I'm from originally Tennessee, lived in North Carolina, and then now I'm in Alabama. I've been here for about almost 6. I think next year will be about 6 years. I think last year it hit 5. I think I'm at 5. I'm going on my 6th year now. I'm probably being here. Yeah, this little drum kit. I was just messing around with it. This is a little tiny. It's just a tiny little kitty, like a kit for a kid. But a friend of mine, and he subscribes to the channel, and he's a friend. He also has a channel, Mike Marinetta. He does like some pretty cool hip hop, like positive vibe type stuff, Christian, kind of mystical Christian stuff, music wise. And then he also does some different videos about talks about Carl Jung a lot and stuff. But he had this little kit sent to me because he'd see me playing my I'd always be beating on like a bucket or a storage tub with my drumsticks, and he'd catch me and see those, and he had that sent to me for a few months ago. And so I just kind of, it's nice because I have it might be a small little like inexpensive kit, and it's really made for a kid, but it still sounds good for what it is. Like, see, the snare sounds pretty good, and it's a tiny little snare, but it sounds all right. And the little kick drum, you know, now the tom, you know, it's just got one tom. The cymbal is pretty decent for like $100 or less. If I had a kid and they were interested and said, "Hey, I want to try to play drums," and you had a kid about this size, because it came with a stool too. I'm just like the type of drumming I do is pretty basic, but I mean, I can keep time. You know what I'm saying? Like when I played music, I didn't do a lot of cover songs or anything. I just learned how to play the basics, and then I got into some bands where we just wrote original songs. And sometimes I wish I had went a different route where I had learned other people's songs and stuff and maybe branched out more on my drumming, but like I can, like I've played with, a lot of heavier bands and stuff, but when I'm just jamming with anybody, I haven't jammed in a long time. But last year there was someone that writes some gospel songs and stuff, and he had a little recording studio over, and he'd come pick me up, and we'd go over there. I'd go over there and play his kit. The only thing was he had it in another room, but he didn't have it soundproof enough to where like he was trying to record too. I couldn't play as hard as I wanted. Like on a big kit, I want to be able to play like this little kit. I don't beat real hard or nothing, but also I try to be mindful that if any neighbors are out, I don't want to be too loud. Yeah, I remember that you played guitar and stuff because a few of the sometimes I catch you, you'll do like some singing and stuff. I enjoyed being in a band. Like I said, the type of music I played was like heavy stuff, but we had a following. It was fun. It's like, but we just played what we wanted to. Like we'd write songs. We wrote songs that we thought that we liked, and it's weird. Like when you write something, you present it to the world. Like we didn't we didn't really care if you liked it or not. But if people did like it, that was a plus. It's kind of like when you start seeing other people dig your creation, then it kind of gives you a little extra, like, yeah. I mean, I would do it anyway. Like, I like to create stuff. Like, I write and I doodle around with drawing. And I mean, I'm not a good artist, but I like to write, and I've wrote all my life, but I've never really done much with it other than just write. So whether anything's ever officially like published and known by anybody is irrelevant. I'm still going to write. And also over the past couple of years, I've gotten really back into trying to do something musically, even if that's just taking a couple of drumsticks and beating on a bucket, and then every once in a while chanting out. Sometimes I'd beat on the buckets and I'd be like, I'd do like a like a kind of a Native American chant. Well, I'd be beating on the bucket or like a storage tub. It'd be kind of a lower deep sound. And then there's been a few things over the past few months, and it's all improv though. It's like I am usually just doing it in a live setting on a live stream. I don't know. I always found like I said, I wish that I was the kind of musician that could just play anything. Like I could just, like I wish I was good at hearing a song and being able, and then I could probably do it. But it's been so, it's like I was always more just playing with someone. They just start playing a rhythm, and I just put a beat to it, or I put a beat. Okay, you have a good one. I thought you was leaving earlier, but thanks for staying around. And I hope that this week is more. I hope this week I find myself doing more live streams. I did one last week, and I think I did two, but one went pretty well, and then the second time it just kind of drizzled out. Well, have a good, wonderful day, though. There's somebody else been watching, I think, but I don't know who it is. You haven't chimed in the chat. If you feel like talking, go ahead and say something. We've been rolling for about 20 minutes. I'm going to roll for another. We'll try to stretch this out to an hour. I hate it when things are kind of going pretty good, and then I'm ready to like wrap it up at an hour, and then a couple more people will show up, and sometimes it's like you got to make the choice whether, okay, do I stay on? Do I really have anything? Like, I don't have anything to do other than hang out. I could technically, my thought sometimes is too, is just send it, if anybody shows up in the chat, and they're like, they're bored too, and they're like, well, dang, we ought to stream together, but I don't know. I never know. Here lately, my energy's been so off that I don't want to get in the middle of that and then all of a sudden feel like I need to abruptly stop. If it's just me right here by myself going live with you guys, it's not as hard to just, if I need to stop, I can just stop. And I don't have to like worry about that I've invited somebody on. Let's see. Speak, Lord, for your servant hears. Your grace is my sufficiency in all things, and there is a sufficiency of your grace ever present in my consciousness. There is sufficiency of your grace whatever prison I am in, physical, mental, moral, or financial. There is a sufficiency of your grace present within me now to meet the need of this very moment, and sufficient unto this moment is your grace. I like reading that. It's I'd like to get it kind of memorized, so but that is a poem. That's not a poem. Well, I guess you could say, but it's a prayer. But it's from Joel S. Goldsmith, one of my favorite authors, Christian mystic author. You know, I've shared some of his stuff, but I don't share a lot of it really on the channel because in the teachings that he's got, it kind of says you not to like try to push it out into the world. You just live it, and then when people express themselves as wanting to know maybe a little more about what it is that you may be showing off, like if when they see something moving in your life and they come to you, they're drawn to you, and then you know you initiate maybe sharing more about the infinite way and all that, and the way that it's set up. Information's online and stuff. You can find videos too about it, but the point is as you're practicing it, it's like you're not. It's not something where you have to go out and tell everybody about it or knock on the doors and stuff. You just kind of you put it in motion. You practice it. You study it, and then you meet with the people that do study it or don't. Like I don't know anybody else really in person that I've ran into that. I've turned some people onto the Joel S. Goldsmith. You know, told them about him and stuff. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. One day or you will. Sometimes I hear lately it's been a little off for me. There's something been like weird, like it's like almost like an uneasy, fearful feeling that's kept me from going live as much. Like during the day, almost every day so far in the past few weeks, there's been days I'm like literally thinking I want to go live or I should go live. You know, nobody's seen me in a few days, or I haven't went live since last week or whatever. And then I'll find myself like hesitating and not doing it. And then like I just have to put myself to doing it again. So that's why I'm live today. I had a pretty good day. It started off, I got a little sick this morning, but I still made it to church. So, you know, I hadn't been in a few weeks to that service or anything. I went there. And I see somebody might have tuned in. I don't know. Feel free to chime in on anything. The only thing that aggravated me is I was still trying to figure out how to flip my camera around while I'm live on the YouTube app to where if I hold something up, it's not backwards. And so far, we don't really, I can't do that. I'll tell you this contract with God is really, really good. Although this last story that I finished in it is pretty disturbing. It has to do with like a superintendent of a building, and then a little girl coming like being. It's got some wrong. It's definitely not meant for anybody under a certain age. Like a mature content. Up until then, the stories had not been too like graphic. Although, yeah, there's one prior to this that shows nudity and stuff. because it is an adult like story. It's a mature reading, of course. But yeah, I'm talking about A Contract with God by Will Eisner, and I'm just kind of discovering more about who Will Eisner it was and is and all that. Um, I've heard of the Eisner Award for years, but just didn't never think much about why it was called that or who it was that they named it after. Probably heard about Will Eisner from time to time in my life, but never until this recently decided to delve into it, and it was because of the title of this graphic novel, A Contract with God. And I can already tell you, I'm going to, I'm definitely going to get. There's like two more books that go with it, so I'm going to get each one of those. And I don't know what he's got other works and stuff too. I don't know what other comic book stuff, but I'm going to get the other two books that'll go with that in the series of that. It's all about 55 Dropsy Avenue, a fictional place in the Bronx. Oh. Just doing that to add a little different spice to the live stream. We had a northern woman was watching. She had to go, but at the time she was on, there was somebody else viewing. So we have a couple people tuned in. Um, which I got to say, like I said, I didn't know what I'm really doing here today. I knew that I went to church and I felt better today than I felt in a little while. Well, I mean, I've not felt that bad or nothing. This week's been good. That whole last week was pretty good. Starting the days off early and doing the videos consistently, not drinking is a good thing. And then also, this past week I worked in walking again. Even though I'm not walking a long ways, I'm doing like at least one short walk a day. The other day I made two of those walks in the day. So I'm gonna work myself up to like I did last year, where I was able to walk like a good few miles, like start off the day with a good long decent walk and then end the day with a good decent walk, and sometimes put a small walk in the middle. So that's what I'm doing. Hey, how's it going there? So just hanging out for a minute. As soon as I said something, I don't know. I'm just making it where when this is played back by anybody, there'll be something to entertain them a little bit, other than just me talking into the camera. Of course, when someone's came into the chat and talked to me and I've responded back, you can see the interaction. But yeah, it's interesting because it starts off with the first character being what introduces you and why it becomes titled A Contract with God, where the dude is like a very devout, like Jew, dedicated his life dedicated to God and everything, but like he has a loss, um, a little girl that was dropped off on his doorstep or something, and he adopted. Uh, she ends up dying later in his life, and that turns him pretty much against God. It reverts back to talking about he had a contract with God, or he keeps talking about he had a contract with God, and it's pretty interesting because he had a contract with God that he wrote on a rock. So he's the first person that had the contract, and you never really see the contract. You never really know what it entailed. But I know he wrote it down, of course, and then he signs it, and he thinks he's got a contract with God, and he goes to these other. But he ends up shaving his beard, becoming all like greedy, buying up all this property and stuff. He buys the the tenement that they live in, where he's living. He buys that because but then in the next story, you get introduced to a kid that ends up finding the rock that he throws away that was his contract. So it intertwines. It's still in the same area and around the same building and stuff, avenue, but the next story goes from being about the guy being all grumpy at God and everything and thinking he had a contract with him and then tossing the rock out that he wrote the contract on and later dying. And then it turns back and shows you like where the rock came from and or where the rock ends up after he tossed it out. Then it goes through like some other interesting stories, and it gets to this last story that I've read that's kind of, like I said, disturbing. I don't really want to even. It just has to do with a creepy dude and a little girl like setting him up and stealing his money. But it's yeah, I'm glad it didn't go any further than it went. I'll be starting this next story maybe sometime today. Cook Alien. Is that what it is? Uh-oh. Oh, God. Let's see here. Okay. But let's see, what time is it? 2:04. I'm trying to debate on whether, I've been right over 30 minutes. I like to try to go an hour, but like, I'm kind of sorting out in my mind what else I need to do if there's anything. I was going to wash some dishes today, I think. I was thinking that's what I was going to do, but I don't know if I'm going to or not. There's nothing so bad that it can't wait till tomorrow. So I might just go ahead and enjoy this day for what it is. And sometimes when you go live, not always it's going to be a lot of people or not. It's like you had somebody, Northern Woman, and that was awesome. She commented on the video this morning too. That was really appreciated. I've even found myself not want. Well, some people don't know that I've been watching some streams, but not chiming in the chats like I was doing like a month or two ago. About a couple months ago, I was pretty active in the chats and showing up and letting them know I was there. Here lately, it's been more like when I catch somebody doing a stream, and especially if there's like 4 or 5 people on a panel, I'll just chime in and watch for a little while, and I'll just see what anybody's talking about in the chat and what the subject is. So I haven't been as much, like I've missed a few of Johnny's streams. There's 1 or 2 times that I thought he was going to stream, and then I didn't see him streaming, and then I think later he came on later than I thought he was. I don't know if he's going to have a stream this afternoon or not. But the past few weeks, I've not even been really watching a lot of YouTube. Been watching a lot of Tubi on like different oddball TV shows I'd never heard of. Just finding random stuff and finding that. So. Okay, well, let's just wrap. Well, is there somebody here or not? I don't know. I was about to just end this because I was thinking. I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm really kind of just floating here. I got some food boxes today from the food drive that is once a month. Not a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that I really don't need to eat, like more like pastry type sweet stuff, and some of that I'm gonna have to either get rid of or dough it out, like don't chunk on it, like gorge out on it and everything. But it is. I got a few things that are definitely going to be needed or would be needed that I won't end up having, didn't have to spend money on. I always appreciate it when I get mayonnaise in them boxes or stuff like that, condiments that maybe, you know, I don't buy a lot because if I get a food box and it's got it in, that kind of keeps it, you know. We'll wrap this up. I'll see y'all later. Until next time, Mr. Greycloud, Sage the Eternal Moment, over and out. Ditto.